It was a cold evening when the city lights glowed like scattered diamonds across the skyline, and inside a lavish penthouse on the top floor of a glass tower, Alexander Grant, one of the world's youngest billionaires, sat at his long polished dining table staring at the untouched steak in front of him while swirling the red wine in his glass with a distracted hand, because even though he had everything most people dreamed of, money, status, cars, and power, he could never shake off the heavy emptiness that gnawed at his chest every night, the loneliness that no luxury could silence, and just as he leaned back to check his phone for another round of pointless business updates, a strange call buzzed on his private line, a number no one outside his closest circle knew, and with a frown he answered, only to hear a trembling, tiny voice on the other end saying, "Help! Please, my Lyly is dying, help us, I called the number but maybe it's wrong, please don't hang up." And for a moment Alexander froze, thinking maybe it was some prank, but then he heard the raw terror, the hiccups of a little girl trying not to cry, and in the background the faint shallow breathing of someone or something, gasping for life, and something deep inside him that he thought had died long ago sparked awake, an instinct to protect, to act, to save, and he leaned forward gripping the phone tighter. "Wait, calm down sweetheart, who are you, what's happening?" And the girl stammered. "I'm Emily, and Lyly is my sister, she can't breathe, I don't know what to do. I called a number on the fridge, I thought it was the hospital, but you picked up, please help, mister, please." And Alexander, forgetting his expensive dinner and the silent dining room, shot up from his chair, grabbed his coat, and told her in the firmest yet gentlest voice, "Don't be scared, Emily, I'll be there, tell me your address right now." And the girl, sniffling, whispered an address in a poor part of the city that Alexander had never even driven through before, a world away from his glass tower. And without hesitation he rushed to his private elevator, his driver startled at the sudden command to head out immediately, the Rolls-Royce slicing through the streets as Alexander's heart raced faster than it had in years, his mind replaying the desperate tone of the child over and over, and for the first time he felt something stronger than business or money, he felt responsibility for someone else's fragile hope. When he arrived at the crumbling apartment complex, Alexander didn't wait for his security detail. He bolted up the stairs, following the faint cries until he burst through a door that was barely hanging on its hinges, and there he saw her, a little blonde girl in worn pajamas clutching an old stuffed unicorn in one arm, holding a phone with the other. Tears streaked across her cheeks, and beside her on a tattered couch lay another girl, smaller, paler, gasping weakly for air with her chest rising unevenly. And the moment Emily's terrified blue eyes met his, she whispered, "You came, you really came," and Alexander knelt beside them, his expensive suit brushing against the dusty floor, as he checked the smaller girl's pulse with hands that had never touched anything but contracts and gadgets, yet somehow in that moment became hands of comfort, and he quickly called his private doctor screaming into the phone to prepare emergency help, and as he lifted the fragile child into his arms he told Emily firmly, "Your sister will be okay, I promise, I've got her now," and Emily clung to his coat like he was the only safe thing in the world, and Alexander felt a lump in his throat, realizing that money, business, fame, all of it meant nothing if he couldn't keep this promise to a little girl who believed in him. And as he carried them both out, past the stunned neighbors, into the waiting car, the billionaire who had once been untouchable was now just a man racing against time to save two innocent lives, and with every heartbeat he felt something changing inside him, something powerful, something human, as if maybe fate had chosen this wrong call to give him the right purpose. And that, dear viewers, is how a lonely billionaire's life began to change forever because of a single desperate call from a child. So if you want to know what happens when Alexander and Emily's paths intertwine further, and how the story of Lyly unfolds, stay tuned for Chapter 2, and don't forget to subscribe to our channel, because your support helps us bring you more of these heart-touching stories that remind us all of the power of kindness, fate, and love.